Thank you for listening to our YouTube video on crafting an introduction. If you would like a copy of these slides, please email me, Professor Scanlon, at scanlon1@kenyon.edu. I want to first share a note about the academic disciplines. Expectations for introductions at the collegiate level will vary widely across these disciplines. What might be acceptable, for example, in a paper for a history course is likely not going to have the same response in a philosophy class. You should always check with your professor if you're unsure of how to proceed during his, her, or their office hours. You can also meet with different tutors that are experienced in the disciplines by looking at their names on our homepage. Writer-responsible introductions are what are most often used at American colleges and universities like Kenyon. These introductions are written so that the writer is responsible for clearly and concisely communicating their messages to readers. Readers should not have to interpret where the paper is headed. The introduction will tell them. There are a couple basic components then of the writer-responsible introduction style. First is the topic, followed by familiar information, logos, previewing, and a hypothesis or thesis. So first, let's talk about the topic. Introductions in American colleges and universities expose readers to a topic in the introduction so that they can understand what the paper is about. It's usually explicitly made clear. This part is where disciplinary differences will be highlighted, though. Some disciplines, mostly those who use MLA and Chicago styles, prefer for more information about the primary resources, such as author names, titles of texts, and even sometimes publication context like the year, location, and genre, to be included in the introduction. Other disciplines, like those using APA and ASA, prefer to have as little information about the authors as possible in the introduction to avoid biasing readers. In all styles, though, the topic is made clear and any absolutely necessary context about what angle you're looking at on the chosen topic is included. So as you write, you should ask yourself, am I making an argument about a topic? Am I presenting research on a topic? Or am I analyzing a topic? This context will help your readers learn more about your paper. After the topic is number 2, familiar information. Many introductions at the collegiate level will include information that readers may already be familiar with at the beginning as a way of easing into one's claim. This method is particularly effective for argumentative papers, as you can share what has previously been discussed about a topic before introducing your new angle or your thesis. As you write familiar information and as you revise it, you should ask yourself, what does my audience need to know about to understand the topic about which I'm writing? Author, texts, using main themes, etc. And then, what will my audience already be familiar with? These are also great questions to ask your professor. Who is my audience for this paper? The third component is logos. Because American colleges and universities exist in a writer-responsible culture, the message of the paper must be made clear by that writer. Thus, logos, or the rhetorical concept of logic, starts becoming apparent in the introduction. Ask yourself as you write and revise with logos in mind, is my message making sense? Is it logical to provide the context that I am? Is there other information I should include to make this message more well-reasoned? Ultimately, think about the logos as the clarity of your point. Are you making your point well? And then does the rest of the paper support it? The fourth component is what we call preview or previewing. This is another important rhetorical move that a good introduction involves. If you think about the opening scenes in a good movie, they often hint at what is to come and make us want to keep watching. In the same way, a good introduction hints at what is to come by giving readers a sense of what your paper will address. Often, this facet is connected to your thesis. Thus, at the college level, you have to get familiar with thesis statements that might be longer than one sentence. As you write and revise with preview in mind, ask yourself, will my readers be able to follow along from my introduction to my body paragraphs to my conclusion? Do my ideas connect and make sense? Is there additional information my readers need to know that I haven't included? And last but not least is the hypothesis or thesis. One thing all academic paper introductions in American college and universities have in common is that they end with a thesis or hypothesis. Thesis statements offer new or interesting perspectives to their readers, suggesting a challenging or different perspective the paper will then explain in detail. Hypotheses are similar in a similar vein, but they pose a question and then the rest of the paper works to answer that question or provide a theory about it. It's important to note that if you are using a hypothesis, you'll have to address whether or not you answered your question or proved your theory in your conclusion or discussion section. Both are written explicitly and concisely at the end of the introduction. As you write and revise your hypothesis or thesis, you should ask yourself, what is my paper proving, arguing, analyzing, or presenting? Have I gone off track anywhere? Should I include those ideas in my thesis or hypothesis? And lastly, does my thesis or hypothesis connect to my paper and to my introduction? A Writing Center tutor can help you with introductions and thesis statements. You should come see us today or make an appointment by visiting owl.kenyon.edu. We also have handouts on both on our website, and we do have a YouTube video on thesis statements on this same channel. If you have questions on introductions, come to Chalmers Library Floor 2 to chat with a Writing Center consultant today. Thank you so much.